This program is proudly brought to you by Telecom Limited and Daytech.
Good night, viewers, and welcome to InFocus. I'm Malcolm Waira. In this edition of InFocus, we look at the practice of conducting valuations. Valuation is the process of determining the worth of an asset or a company. Joining us for discussions, we have Mr. Christopher Nangui, Managing Director and Co-owner of CJ Valuers Limited, and Ms. Fanny Nimalanga, Head of Research, Training and Publicity. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us on this show.
Now, firstly, Christopher, why is it important for businesses and individuals to engage certified valuers?
Valuation is a professional area that looks at determining each business's or individual or an asset's worth. Every individual or every business or company has an asset, either a property or an intangible asset, something in which we can't see, but it is there. Let's say financial assets, okay? These are very important for the person who owns it or the company that owns it. They need to know what's its worth. And once you know its worth, you are able to either mobilize additional capital, meaning you can mortgage. That is, for example, if you own a house, you need to know its value, so you are able to solicit more funding from the banks. Okay, these are examples. Okay, for a company, it also mobilizes capital. Okay, for you to mobilize capital, you need to actually know what is your worth at this time. What are your assets and how much are they worth? Okay, once you value that, you can use that as, even for individuals, as collateral to source additional financing. As collateral for additional financing from financing sources such as banks and other financial institutions. Now, two important things comes with the question that you ask. One is who should actually provide a valuation and whether it's authentic. There are in these countries some people who practice valuation but are not certified. Okay, there are certified valuers in this country. The association that certify valuers is the Institute of Valuers and Land Administrators, and there is a board called the Valuer Registration Board. Okay, that satisfied who should practice the valuation in this country. Okay, others who practice, but you are unable to certify any valuation reports because you're not considered a qualified valuer, okay, or a certified valuer or a registered valuer. Until and unless a report is signed off by a registered valuer, that particular certificate of value is authentic. It is recognized and considered to be a true value of that particular asset.
Are there specific risks associated with not using a certified valuer?
Definitely. A report is being accepted and prepared and been accepted by a client. If it's been prepared by an uncertified valuer, that particular certificate is of no consequence. Okay, it's of no effect. Okay, maybe good for somebody to look at, But in terms of its authenticity, in terms of its credibility and ethical practice, there's no guarantee in that one. So if you take it to a financial institutions, for example, to a bank to solicit capital or mortgage financing, they will not accept it. Yeah, simply because it is not a certified valuation report.
What sorts of determining factors are factored into the conduction of valuations?
In the practice of valuation, there are several key factors that we look at. Among them, first and foremost, we must look at the context in which the particular asset exists. Okay. For example, my team practices the standards of what we call the international valuation standards. Okay. We look at first and foremost the context in which the asset exists. For example, this particular cup is on a table. Every asset exists in an economy, in an economic environment. First and foremost is to look at the economic setting of the country. Then we bring the story down a bit to look at the industry in which this particular asset belongs to. Okay. For example, if a house exists within the PNG economy, and when we bring the story down to an industry, it exists within the real estate industry. To have an idea of what's its worth, I need to at least understand how the economy is performing, how the industry is performing. Once I have a bigger idea of where it's sitting, then I bring the story further down to its properties. Okay, what comprises of this particular asset? What is it made of? Then I break its parts into bits and pieces and look at its content. Starting off with land, whether which piece of land. Is it a residential or a commercial or an industrial? So lands are also apportioned. Then look at what type of house it is. Okay, what's the material composition? Then we look at the accessibility. Accessibility meaning it's access to roads, to whatever the major transportation arrangements that adds to its value. After which we look at the property itself now inside. What the floor area made of? Does it have aircons? Does it have, what material comprise of its roof? All these things is now broken up and assessed to its details. Then, okay, we look at how this one, what's its worth. Then we have something called the different approaches and methodologies that must be used. You cannot just apply any approach or methods to any particular asset. For certain assets, there are specific valuation approaches and methodologies to be applied to determine the type of value they want. So it's a much bigger concept, but once you drill it down to the type of value you want, it's easy for the valuer to help in determining its actual value.
Now, Fanny, can you give us a bit of background of CJ Valuers?
CJ Valuers is a registered tax-paying SME. We've been operating as Yagor Property Valuation as a business for the past 10 years. And recently in 2021, we have transitioned into a fully established company, which is now we have rebranded to CJ Valuers Limited. So the company has a mission and vision. The vision to become the household name in PNG and the mission to capture 50% of the market share. So in line with our vision and mission, we have recently opened our branch in Leh, which is located in town, which will be launched this coming Friday. And we are well capitalized and trusted valuation firm in the sector with over 15 professionals, or mostly all nationals. And we also into providing different valuation services in the country.
Are you able to elaborate on the specific valuation services you offer?
We provide, our core business is on properties. We provide valuation services, and the different types of valuation services in properties. That's valuations for commercial, residential, and industrial properties, including vacant land. We also provide valuations for businesses. That's covering merchandising, valuations for manufacturing companies and services. We also provide valuations for securities or financial instruments, which is valuations for debts or bonds, derivatives, valuations for stocks. We also provide valuations for plant equipment and machineries. It comes under other valuation services that we offer.
Welcome back. You're watching InFocus. Now, Christopher, how have you found the regulatory environment in the valuation services industry in Papua New Guinea?
It's a very important question. For any professional practice, we need to look at two important elements. First and foremost is the legislative framework, and second is the institutional framework that governs any profession, any professional areas that anyone can be engaged in. In the valuation space, we have the Valuations Act 1967. Now, that becomes an issue. You know, that law dates back to 1967, before any of us were born, even the country. It's something in which the authorities concerned must look into it now, and I mean now, because the playing field, the valuation practice has more or less surpassed the act. It has become what we call irrelevant. It's no longer responsive, it's no longer reliable. So it's high time authorities concerned should now amend the act as a major matter of urgency. So that would be point number one I'd like to share. Number two is that in the institutional space, we have regulatory entities in place. We have the PNG Institute of Valuers and Land Administrators. We have the Office of the Valuer General, which is housed in the Department of Lands and Physical Planning. These are the two lead entities, institutional framework that more or less provide guidance and regulatory processes and systems to the valuation practice. Their effectiveness is something that may need some improvements. We in the private sector, the practitioners of valuation, we feel that there could be more that these particular entities could do to raise the bar in the profession. Among them is adapting standards. Now, as we see, there are various practitioners in the field of valuation. Many are using their own forms and formats, and there is really no national standards for everyone to comply with or to follow. As such, we saw this shortcoming, so CJ valuers have opted to adopt what we call the International Valuation Standards. We became a member of the International Valuations Council back in 2024, and that was done largely because we wanted to ensure that there is a standard that must be in place where people can respect and feel comfortable and see that there is a lot of people can have confidence in a standard that is being applied to their valuations. So that's basically the reason why. So we continue to advocate the international valuation standards, and we have approached our institutional regulators to see if we can work together in raising the bar by way of adapting international standards but localizing them to our context.
Now, Christopher, given the proliferation of technological advancement, for example, artificial intelligence, which has greatly automated many professions and skills, to what extent do you think this will impact the profession of valuation globally?
AI is now a reality in almost all sectors and professional space. In the valuation space, of course, AI is an important tool that we see that is already having an impact in the profession. Globally, the International Valuation Standards Council has already adapted models that are AI friendly. Okay, we in the local level in the PNG context have also adapted most of these models. We have our staff who've actually been starting to engage in a very big model that is connected with the IVS and with the RICS, which is another principle, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. It is compliant with these two important standards, and that we are gradually adapting into its use.
Now, Feni, as the head of research, training, and publicity, can you tell us about some of the trainings that you run?
All right, there are different trainings that we tailor design and run, trainings that come under all the services that we offer. We are tailor designing the training in according to the services that we offer, and including the international valuation standards applied to local contexts. It's a new training that we have tailor designed, and we are currently running in-house, and we'll be running it in July for external participants. The training will be run from the 14th of July to the 18th of July. So it's open to the external participants, like professionals in the different sectors, accounting or land. Anyone who is interested in this training, it's currently available, and the application is open to the participants.
In addition to what the head of research, training, and publicity has mentioned, we have an ongoing in-house training program that is tailor designed to enhance technical skills and capability of our own staff. Among them is business writing, effective business communications. Now, these are important tools that are required on a daily basis. Then the external ones, as Ms. Nimalang has mentioned, we have the international valuation standards that CJ Valuers is known to be advocating and promoting. And with the training that is forthcoming, we hope that many will participate. So you look at how the international valuation standards is being cascaded. It's been now localized. How is it relevant to our own setting? As a practitioner in the international valuation standards in PNG, for us it is very important for us to at least advocate this, so other practitioners in the valuation space, either valuers, accountants, engineers, architects, you can participate in this one to see how it can enhance your own profession, particularly in terms of standards, and together we can raise the bar in the valuation profession in this country.
Thank you, Christopher. We now go for a quick break. Join us on the other side for more discussions. Welcome back. You're watching In Focus. Now, Feni, How can customary landowners best commercialize their land through the process of property valuation?
Thank you. Okay, that's a very important question because in Papua New Guinea, a lot of people have unregistered land. As a valuation company, we advocate and we also conduct valuations on properties that are registered only. Okay, so they have to have a proper titles in order for us to carry out our valuations. So with that, for customary landowners, it is very important that they have to get their lands registered at Lands Department. Having the ILG for their land is very important. Because once they have a proper title for their land, it's easy for the valuation firms or the valuation industry to look into assisting with the valuations for their properties, so that will, or their vacant land or their land, so that it will help them to know the value of their land. If they want to set up factories, for example, or agriculture is one of the biggest things that is booming in the country right now, like especially in our provinces and all that. So it's very important that we advocate landowners to at least get their land registered, or form an ILG, so that this will help the valuers to conduct valuations for their land.
Christopher, would you like to add to that?
No valuation can be done on a piece of land that is not registered. Okay, even if it's done, it is of no consequence because no one is going to use it. Purpose of having the land valued is because you want to raise capital, basically. For our people, they need to look at the value of their land so they are able to make it either bankable. Okay, if I'm applying for a loan and I'm trying to use my piece of land as a collateral, and if it's of no value, it's useless. So what to do? You start with the ILT, integrated land groups. Okay, once you have registered the ILG, you are now able to, as an individual in that ILG, you can be able to now ask for a portion. So once that portion is given to you, you are able to use call in valuers to value that particular portion, and then you can use that as a collateral for doing other businesses, either to apply for loan financing of some things you can do. Having an ILG and asking valuers to come in to value any customary land is of no consequence, or if not, if it's of no value. They can do it for hobby, but it's of no use.
Mr. Christopher Nyangui and Fanny Nimalang, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much once again. We appreciate the time to be here with you.
Well, viewers, that ends this episode of InFocus. Do join us again next week, Monday, on our regular time slot of 7 p.m. Till then, bye for now.
This program was proudly brought to you by Telecom Limited and Daytech.